So let's go over the various modes in Black Ops 7 Zombies. So there's going to be 4 modes on launch. So first of all, we're going to have the standard mode, which can be played on Ashes of the Damned, or the survival version of FAM. Directed mode is also going to be back, like we saw throughout Black Ops 6 Zombies, a streamlined path where clear objectives and guided progression keep you locked on the main quest. An experience that's much more approachable for new players, or those chasing story-driven completion. They say expect directed to launch after standard in a similar cadence to Black Ops 6, so it's not going to be there on the launch, it'll probably be there in Season 1 or Season 1 Reloaded, so that people have had a decent amount of time to complete the Ashes of the Damned Easter egg before directed is available. Survival mode is there as well, delivering a focused, unfiltered experience based on small parts of the Ashes of the Damned map, but FAM is only there on launch, with the rest coming later. There are no main quests other than you and your squad surviving against the relentless undead for as long as you can. But let's go over the most exciting thing for Black Ops 7 Zombies, which is the new Cursed mode, which is essentially the rumoured classic mode that's been rumoured ever since before Black Ops 6 Zombies even released, and it's never released at all, and that's because Treyarch have actually done a lot more to introduce a classic mode than just straight up releasing it, because they're implementing it in a much more nuanced way. Take on a new experience featuring some legacy mechanics, with numerous side quests to unearth increasingly potent and cursed relics. Activate these relics to face harder challenges in exchange for new levels of power, replayability, and rewards. So whilst directed mode is for more casual players to be able to enjoy their Easter eggs, Cursed mode is for the hardcore players, because this is going to be a much harder way to play zombies that's more akin to how zombies used to be. However, I would assume things like the way the zombies move and stuff like that is not going to be balanced and adjusted for this mode, so it's going to be a lot more difficult than classic zombies where they didn't hit you as rapidly, you didn't have as many zombies on the maps, for example. So it's going to be a lot more difficult, and I really do wonder how Treyarch balance the mode over the course of the year, whether it's going to be supported and balanced as consistently as the regular mode, or whether it might get left to the dust depending on how well the community reception is. I'm sure if it doesn't have that many players, it might not be as successful or as well supported. I think a lot is going to be resting on that, but this is what the community has been wanting. This way you can play however you want. There's a harder version for you, you've got the regular version, you've got the directed version, it's absolutely amazing. Tailor-made for the hardcore, crafted for those seeking a more demanding experience, with new layers of challenge to discover and overcome to access unique rewards. This is one of Black Ops 7 Zombies' biggest innovations, directly inspired from feedback from the Zombies community that we have been begging for so long. So you cannot even access Cursed mode until you have fulfilled certain criteria. So they have announced separately, which for some reason is not detailed in the blog, that you will apparently unlock Cursed mode upon completion of the main quest.
We have survival maps for casual players, we have directed mode for our beginner players, we have Cursed mode for the hardcore players.
Cursed mode is really about focusing on our most engaged players and giving them additional challenges. The idea is that once you finish the main quest on a map, we unlock these things that we call relics. And so you're choosing how you want to make the mode harder, but by making the mode harder, you're also going to be opening up a lot of new content. We're actually going to increase your power levels. There's also some Easter eggs that are only going to be discoverable when you're engaged in Cursed mode. We're not holding back this year. I don't think players are going to be ready for what they're about to experience.
However, I don't know if that's going to be map specific. Of course, you're only going to have Ashes of the Damned's quest available at launch. Do you just complete that and then you unlock Cursed mode for Ashes of the Damned, and then for the DLCs, the Cursed variants going to automatically be unlocked, or will you have to individually complete each of the quests to be able to then play Cursed mode for them? And then they also went on to say on Twitter, you'll need to unlock Cursed to do so, which they won't say how, even though they implied to unlock the relics you need to complete the Easter egg. So was that referring to completing the Easter egg on Cursed specifically to then be able to unlock the relics? Because if so, that's a very long, tedious process. If you have to find a way to unlock Cursed mode in the first place, then to begin to even unlock the relics, you can't even find them by default anyways. You first have to complete the Easter egg again on Cursed and then find the relics. That's a long process, so I hope that's not the case. I don't really understand. No, yes, technically Kevin Drew just said beating the main quest unlocks relics, but we don't know if that was referring to the fact of beating the main quest in Cursed specifically then unlocks relics, because as far as we're aware, I think relics are just in the Cursed mode itself and not a part of the standard mode. But maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe there's specific relics to be able to unlock the mode per map in the first place, but then there's specific relics in terms of Cursed mode. I guess we're just gonna have to wait if they drop a Cursed blog at some point, or just leave this a secret for launch, I guess, but right now it's a bit confusing. Now things are getting even more confusing, because according to the leaker Relics, relics. As it turns out, you do just unlock cursed mode for completing the main quest on the map, which is what we were thinking Kevin Drew was on about anyways, but then Treyarch say on Twitter, well, it's still a secret, but then it's not actually. So who's telling the truth? What's going on? Why is there still so much miscommunication with all of Treyarch's reveals? It seems they just word everything so weirdly. There's contradictions between the blogs, their tweets, what they say in the intel drops, what YouTubers are told at the events. It's just an absolute mess. They need to better their communication so it's a lot clearer. I don't think they should be telling any YouTubers any exclusive information that the public is not privy to, because I think that's also causing a lot of confusion, especially when so many things could be misquoted, misremembered, or stuff that's subject to change. I can understand why they are locking it behind a certain thing, because obviously there's a bunch of casuals that don't want curse mode to be so difficult, and will complain if they just jump in from the menu of the game and they find it way too hard. It is called Cursed after all, so this is meant to be a literal curse mode, way more challenging, it's in the name. I think there's pros and cons to this. Of course, hardcore players who want to play this version of the mode are going to be completing those main quests anyways, but at the same time, there's a lot of fans who want to play this old version of zombies and they don't really like the modern version of zombies that might want to jump into this straight away, but then they're not even going to be given the opportunity to play it. So honestly, I hope at some point post-launch they just give it to everyone, unlock straight away. I understand they're trying to give it as a reward for hardcore players, because this is what we've been asking for throughout Black Ops 6 Zombies, or for zombies for a very long time, more rewards for hardcore players, especially when casuals have been catered towards so much throughout, you know, Cold War Zombies, etc. However, I think the reason for this is because this is not going to be like classic zombies. It's going to be a lot more difficult. I really do think so. I think this is going to be very, very challenging because things are not going to be properly adjusted for it. As a result, it's not going to be something they want to just give to everyone to jump in and play, because it's going to be very difficult, at least if you have all of the different adjustments turned on, because basically there's going to be different things you can turn on and off with the relic system. So once you have unlocked the mode, your focus is on finding archaic artifacts of great power hidden away across dark ether, time and space. These are known as relics, each one themed around a totem from Black Ops Zombies' history. Every relic has a unique condition to discover it, and the requirements needed can be unforgiving. So basically they're going to be relics from the past, from the ether story, or I guess even potentially the dark ether story past the Zombies games. So I don't know, they're probably going to be things memorable to us, like, I don't know, the summoning key or the classic pack-a-punch, the Vril device, I don't know, things along those lines. And there's going to be Easter eggs across the map to be able to find these relics. However, they've given kind of misleading information on this, because I don't really understand what exactly they mean, because in the intel things they've talked about relics being able to be unlocked upon completion of the main quests to unlock curse mode, but then they've also talked about relics that can only be accessed in the curse mode itself. So it's a bit unclear what they actually are, unless it's both. Maybe there are relics to actually be able to play the curse mode itself, but then there are further relics you can unlock via Easter eggs in the curse mode to turn on even more challenging things. So these curse relics aren't simply here to display in a trophy cabinet. They provide a debuff modifier, making your subsequent matches even more challenging. Each relic offers a unique challenge to overcome, and once unlocked and applied to a match, several of these modifiers can enable further restrictions that longtime fans will find familiar. So for example, a limit of 4 Perca-Colas, or the removal of ammo caches are just 2 examples. Now the rest of which have been leaked, or at least some of them. There might be more, but apparently in this curse mode, it will have its own separate war buys, mystery box, and allowed weapon list. There'll be no mini-map. You will apparently start with a pistol in this mode. There's apparently going to be a relic to have no armor, but not all of this is going to be available on the get-go. So I think there's going to be some things that will just be there once you unlock the curse modes, and then there's going to be further things to unlock more relics. It is a little bit confusing how it works right now. So in curse mode, you will spawn in with no loadout weapon, only a pistol. There'll be no mini-map, and the classic point system will be there. Now Treyarch said inspired by Black Ops 3, even though it was literally in all games prior to Black Ops 3 as well. People are just so nostalgic over Black Ops 3 they can't even let it go. Does modern Treyarch even know it existed in the prior titles as well? Strange. And then all of the other restrictions are going to be for the relics, such as the 4 perk limit, removing ammo caches, and there's going to be loads more that have yet to be announced. Maybe they'll announce them all before release. So there's going to be base rule sets for the game, and then there's going to be additional relics to make it even more challenging, or even more like classic zombies that you can turn on and off, and you need to find via little Easter eggs. Activating relics in Cursed Classic mode will increase the tier of the match. The higher the tier, the more secrets you can find. Now I do not know what that even means, to be honest. Are these additional Easter eggs or additional relics that you can then find in Cursed, applying more and more? I guess the tier that's applied will determine on what sort of loot you actually get. According to Mr. Waffles, Curse Mode will not have armor plates. The new overheal mechanic will be extremely useful to use while playing it. So yeah, the loadouts are not going to be available in Cursed Mode, and there's going to be various different things like that that are default excluded, but then I think some of the further limiters on your game can only be applied through the relics that you can get. I do think, though, Trek have kind of just mis-explained how these things actually work, so I think the base Cursed Mode will have a set amount of different restrictions, such as, you know, you just spawning in with a pistol, but then I think those further restrictions are found through classic Call of Duty relics, found through playing the Cursed Mode itself. With relics becoming available in varying degrees of cursed power, your future cursed matches, available as private matches with the host collection of relics available to pick from, are set to become even more hectic as you hunt down more dangerous artifacts. Each Black Ops 7 Zombies map will also have more relics to discover throughout the post-launch seasons. Why curse yourself by choosing relics to increase the challenge? Because doing so is the key to unlocking more powerful relics, as well as granting you classified benefits and rewards unique to the mode. Good luck, you will need it. So this mode is going to be very, very difficult. And like I said, it's still confusing right now. It seems that once you unlock the main quest, you can then go into Curse Mode, but then there are relics you can find to give further modifiers that make the mode more challenging, and there's going to be exclusive rewards you can unlock in the mode that we have no idea what they are just yet, but hopefully they're actually good and adequate and not just like a calling card with a slight little change like they were in Black Ops 6, especially because these are going to be so difficult to unlock, and there's probably going to be specific rewards depending on whatever relics you have applied, and we don't know if there's going to be a cap to how many relics you can have applied in one game. Are you able to just apply all of them to have all of the challenges, or only some? And of course in the post-launch maps we have no idea what the relics are going to be. They could be way harder and make things way more difficult than the ones at launch. I would assume the relics you find in the DLC maps, they can be then reapplied on, for example, if you go back to Ashes of the Damned. But yeah, we still need to find out more about this mode because it is a little bit confusing right now. They also put out a tweet which could be interpreted as the fact that you cannot complete the main quests on launch, at least in the Cursed Mode, and they might just be coming post-launch because they say this is going to provide a new layer of replay value and challenge to completing the main quests in the post-launch seasons. Update: Trek has confirmed that yes, you can play the main quest in Cursed Mode on release. They just poorly worded the other tweet, but it is exactly like we were thinking. So this is going to provide so much replay value to these Easter eggs because you're going to be able to mix and mash the different relics to play the mode in so many different ways, providing so much challenge for all of the post-launch quests as well. Like I said, the Cursed Mode is not one thing. There's going to be many different relics you can apply to your maps, so this is going to provide so much replay value to Black Ops 7 Zombies because there's going to be a million different ways and combinations of the different relics to complete the main quest. This isn't basically just a classic mode, it's a very hardcore mode, and I think that's what people are not really understanding. It's going to be very, very, very difficult with having all of these things applied. For example, the Perca-Colas, a limit of 4 is going to be extremely difficult. Now, they are actually changing it so you can get random perk power-ups just from regular power-ups, but it's going to be very rare, so I'm guessing in this mode that's how you get more perks, which is an amazing change. And you know, the classic point system is going to be amazing, just using an SMG, spraying and praying to get loads of points. This is the best of both worlds. The game is having really something there for all types of players. As to how this is executed though is yet to be seen. I don't know how this is going to play. I've got a feeling people are not going to like it, honestly, just because it might be too challenging in all honesty, because I think a lot of people who are asking for classic zombies to be back, they might be wanting something a bit more challenging than regular zombies, but maybe not as difficult as classic mode is going to be with the Curse Mode, because like I said, I don't think things like the way the zombies move is going to be balanced for it, so I think it's going to be very, very hard. Now yes, you can argue, well, you don't need to apply all the relics, you can mix and match which you want. For example, if you don't want the perk limit, you don't need to apply that relic, and yes, that is true, but some people might want exactly how classic zombies is, but not want, you know, all of the other caveats with, you know, the way the zombies move or the other different zombie systems. So I don't think this is going to please all fans who have been wanting a classic zombies vibe, because not all fans who want classic zombies back are necessarily the best players. They might be a bit better than the average zombies player nowadays, because it's definitely easier, especially in the earlier rounds. But yeah, we'll have to see. We need more details about this to truly make sense of it all. Now, in the blog, there is an image as well that depicts a wall buy without any rarity, so it's possible that either by default in the Curse Mode, there is no weapon rarity, or there is a relic that you can get that then has no weapon rarities at all, which would make it a lot more challenging. Now, I don't know if it would just be rebalanced, so the only way to level up your weapons is Pack-a-Punch, but Pack-a-Punch might be stronger in the mode, or they're literally just going to have the Pack-a-Punch and no weapon rarities, making it a lot more difficult. Maybe the relic for this war by one is literally just finding a classic plastic wall by somewhere on the map, maybe even this one depicted in the shot. And I guess the way this is implemented will depend whether it makes the game harder or easier, because they could just buff Pack-a-Punch so it effectively is like the merger of the weapon rarity system and the regular Pack-a-Punch. That way there's no need for the weapon rarities anyways, which probably should be how the default game should be anyways. Or they could keep Pack-a-Punch the same, in which if they remove the rarities, all of the weapons are going to be way more challenging. So it really depends how this is implemented as to what effect it makes on the game. Or they could just make all of the weapons by default just do more damage, removing the need of a weapon rarity, and then there's just the Pack-a-Punch system. And no rarities could just be a relic, or it could be a part of the base mode. Let me know your thoughts on it all down in the comments below. Anyways, thank you for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're not here for the latest and greatest Call of Duty news information. So anyways, thank you for watching, and bye.